Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to Cupertino Library. My name is Claire Varesio and I am the community librarian here, and I am so happy to see all of you here at our library this afternoon. Does anyone know why we are having lots of special programs today? Does anyone have an idea? What do you think? The summer, it is summer, which is very exciting. Yes, you are very eager. What do you think? Yes, exactly right. Very good. We are celebrating the fact that Cupertino Library is now open 72 hours every week. I know, it's very exciting. It's the most of any library in the Santa Clara County Library District, and we hope that you will come visit us during our new hours on Friday nights when we are open until 9 p.m., and on Saturdays and Sundays when we are open 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So you'll have plenty of time today after our show to come visit us next door at the library. Also, if you haven't already signed up for summer reading, we hope you'll take the opportunity to do that after our show today as well. And our program this afternoon is very generously sponsored by the Cupertino Library Foundation, and you can learn about all the ways they support our library at cupertinolibraryfoundation.org. I have two very special guests who are here today before we start our program. The first is Mayor Darcy Paul. Would you like to come up and give some remarks?
Thanks, Claire. And I want to thank our county system librarian, Nancy Howe, for being here this afternoon. Hi, Nancy. As well as Chris Brown. I did see Chris from the central headquarters of County Library as well. Joining me in our city council is Savita Vaidyanathan, who was the mayor last year and was also elected in 2014. So thank you for being here, Councilmember Vaidyanathan. And from the Fremont Union High School District Board, we have Hung Wei. So thank you everyone for being here. This is a tremendous asset to our community. And given the fact that we now have 72 hours, that means we have more hours on Friday nights. And I know that most of our community has come here a little bit later on Fridays and said to themselves, you know, we could use those extra few hours at the end of a week, because the library is such a resource that even though we're very busy in our work weeks and in our school weeks, and now in our summer break for the summer break activities, at the end of the week, we still sometimes want to go and have a type of recreation in reading and the media and a lot of the other great offerings that the library has. This particular space is often programmed by the library, and it's so busy that a lot of the times we find not enough space for library programming as well as members of the community and City Hall. And it would just be so wonderful if we were able to continue our support for the library in that Cupertino as a community did create the library building roughly 15 years ago, and it would just be wonderful to be able to keep expanding out that space and facility. And so if you have that opportunity to support it, I would encourage you to do so. With regard to the hours, it's just so wonderful that we have weekend hours as well. So we used to close at 6 o'clock, and that extra half hour is very much valued. I don't want to set our goal at 24 hours a day, every day of the week, but I think that this is the kind of community that could really appreciate that sort of aspiration and the ability to take our steady and thoughtful approach and be able to bring it forward to the community. And so if you feel that that's something that's on your high priority list, supporting the library facilities, as well as making sure that we have the very best library in the world, then that's something that we can certainly do. And that's not an exaggeration. Our circulation in the Cupertino Library stands at about 2.5 million, which on average for every single person, and that's every single person from less than 1 year old to over 100 years old in Cupertino, that's about 40 items being checked out every year, which is a tremendous amount if you think about the fact that in an election, probably only 1 out of every 6 people really vote in a regular one. So it's a really well-utilized resource. Another thing is that it's wonderful that we have a public library and it can open up for all members of the public, and very appreciative of our county library system for supporting that kind of principle over the years. So I'm very pleased to be able to introduce a member of our County Board of Supervisors. We're here in District 5. He is a stalwart of the community, of the civic community, and has been for a number of decades. Originally from the Palo Alto City Council, where he got his start in civics. He is now, when I first met him, he was a senator of the state of California, representing our area, and now he is back in the county serving us, not just on the Board of Supervisors, but this year as the president of the Board of Supervisors. It was my pleasure to serve with him on the Joint Powers Authority that governs the county library, which is where I had the pleasure of having these conversations with Chris and Claire and Nancy last year regarding the expansion of the library's hours. And so it's so wonderful to have him here to help usher in this day, as well as appreciate the hours. So without any further ado, we have President Joe Simitian of the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors. Welcome, Joe.
Can we applaud for Mayor Darcy one more time? May I sit down with you? Can you scooch a little closer? If I promise I don't bite? There we go. How many of you have been in the library? You've been 2 times. That's excellent. Well, I'm hoping that it turns into 20, and then 200, and then 2,000 times. I'm Santa Clara County Supervisor Joe Simitian, and that means absolutely nothing to almost all of you who are sitting here with me. But as Mayor Darcy said, I'm here because I'm the president of the County Board of Supervisors. I'm here because I'm the county supervisor, the elected official for the 5th district where we sit. I'm here because I'm on the library governing board. But really, the reason I'm here is because when I was just about your age, I used to go to the Cupertino Library. Yes, they had libraries way back then. I used to go to Cupertino when it was at the Ilario Shopping Center on the other side of the road, and my family's home was on Blaney Avenue, right down here. And you know, the wonderful thing about the library is that there's something there for everybody. And so if you want to just read a good book for fun, you can. And if you want to read a book to learn, you can. And if you want to find a new job, it's right there. And if you want to improve your English language skills, you can do that too. And if you want a place that's quiet and safe to study, to do your homework, because I know you're all going to want to do your homework, you can do it right there as well. You want to go online? You can do that at the library. There really is something for everybody there, whether you're 4, is anybody 4? Okay. Or whether you're 44, anybody want to admit to being 44? A few. Or if you're 8, okay. Or if you're 88. No hands are going up on that one. But when I was 8 years old, I was at that library across the street. And I'd take the books out, and I'd read them. And I used to read biographies, stories about what men and women had done. Some of them were in sports, some of them were scientists, some of them were pioneers, some of them were politicians. And I began to think, you know, maybe I could be one of those people. Maybe I could have a story sort of like their life story. And so it's literally no exaggeration when I tell you that I'm sitting here right now with you, getting to spend time with you, because we opened the door and walked through it and went to the Cupertino Public Library all those years ago. So the reason, Mayor Darcy Paul, that I'm so excited about the new hours is because it means that one of these little ones is going to go through those doors a little more often. and they're going to have a future that's even more exciting than otherwise might have been possible. And they're going to end up being one of those scientists or sports figures or entrepreneurs or politicians. One day one of them's going to run for county supervisor. Please wait until I'm term limited out of office, though, okay? But this is a big day. I know you're here for the fun, so I'm going to step away. But before I step away, could we all give one more great big round of applause for all the excitement, the fun, the learning, the knowledge, and the opportunity we're going to have at the Cupertino Public Library. Thank you very much. Mayor Darcy Paul, I hand it back to you. Thank you all. Or back to Claire. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. You all have been such good listeners, and we are about to have some more very exciting stories that you can listen to. Stories from places that many of your families are from or know about in South Asia. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our storytellers from Ethnotech this afternoon. Can we give them a big round of applause? Thank you. I hope you all enjoy the show.
Mukashi, aru tokoro ni yana yana, aju yanare.
Once upon a time,
aru tokoro ni yana,
time ago, in a far, 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 far away place, once upon a time,
aru tokoro ni yana yana,
was
aju yanare. Ethnotech Ensemble.
here to take you on a journey to the lands of Asia. We're going to do a lot of stories from India today. My name is Robert Kikuchi Ngoho,
My name is Ling Li.
And my name is Mei Li.
and we are the Ethnotech Ensemble, here to perform for you. We do shows in schools and libraries, and really welcome all of you to come to support the celebration of the extended hours for the library. So a round of applause for all the support that the community has done here. All right, well, just to kind of make sure you're wide awake for stories and listening and watching, I'll clap my hands. You copy with a clap. And you feel that blood rushing through your fingers and hopefully up to your ears and your eyes. And now it's time for our first story.
This first story is from India, and it's about being grateful. Do you guys say thank you often? Yeah. Yeah, do you say thank you all the time? Sometimes, maybe. Well, this is a story about what it means to be thankful. And it's called Double Trouble. Once upon a time, in the land of India, there was a very poor man. A very poor, poor man.
Oh.
Are you poor in company?
No, I have a wife, a wise one at that, and children too. Oh, no.
Are you poor in shelter?
No, I have a house. It's not very big, but it's a comfortable roof over our heads.
Do you lack clothes?
Oh, no, I have several shirts to choose from.
So, what is your poverty based on?
My luck! Or rather, my lack of luck.
Or so he believed. In fact, he constantly complained.
No luck! That's my life. Other men, they have finer lives than mine. They're the lucky ones.
Hey, husband! That's it. Stop complaining. Be grateful for what you have. Look, I'll make your favorite chapati. Huh? But we're out of flour. Go to the market and get some.
Oh, no!
And so off he went, mumbling and grumbling all the way. So much so, he didn't notice signs for half-price flour till after he paid double at the expensive store.
Oh, no! unlucky day, as usual.
He started making his way home. The morning sun was boiling hot.
Unlucky weather.
Further down the road, he tripped and stubbed his toe.
Oh, unlucky toe.
Then a bee stung him on the cheek.
Unlucky face.
He dropped the bag of flowers.
It began to leak. Half a bag of flour trailing down the street. Oh, never any luck.
So he began to pray.
Oh, heavens. Why did you curse me with this luckless life? I mean, I would need double the luck just to be normal. Hey, that's it. Send me double. Hey, double it. Everything doubled. Double.
Now
Double,
his
double,
desperate
double,
prayers
double,
wafted up
double,
upon the
double,
breeze,
double.
beyond the stars, and found their way onto the heavenly palace floor, where the gods and goddesses were amusing themselves with an occasional glance down to see humans and their plotting, when they heard this prayer. What's this? A prayer for double? Well, why not? What harm could it do down there? Or even way up here? So with a wave of a hand, a boon, a wish, a spell was cast and sent all the way down.
Oh, never mind.
Just as the unlucky man was making his way home, he handed the half-empty bag of wheat flour to his wife and was about to explain his unlucky day. Don't! Interrupted his wife. Her poor husband merely slumped in a chair, waiting for his breakfast. Here, now eat up, get out, and start a new day.
Oh, great! Look at how small this chapati is.
Be grateful. You're lucky I even made that for you.
Oh, lucky! I prayed to the heavens for double, and this is what I get. Ugh, puny chapati.
He took one bite out of the chapati.
Chomp,
Suddenly, his mouth was full of 2 bites.
chomp, chomp.
He started to chew those 2 bites. Suddenly, there were 4 bites of chapati.
Chomp, 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 chomp. Huh? The heavens sent me a doubling spell?
Those 4 bites turned to 8.
Chomp, 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 chomp. But this means everything will double? My clothes, my shoes, the vegetables in my garden, my money, my happiness.
8 into 16.
I need water! Water!
He took 1 swig of water. Suddenly, there were 2. Tried to swallow those 2 swigs. Suddenly, there were 4. Finally, he was able to swallow that blob of chapati and water in one big Then that turned to 2. Then 2 to 4. Then 4 to 8. 8 to 16. 16 to 32. 64. 128. 256. 512. The poor man doubled over. Dead. Aye! My husband is dead. Children, come quickly. Daddy is dead. Huh? I didn't know he had 2 daddies. Even the dead body had doubled. Quick! Send for the neighbors! We need to prepare a funeral! But by the time the neighbors arrived, 2 bodies had doubled into 4. Bada bada ba! Quick! We need more people to help carry out these bodies. But then 4 turned to 8. 8 into 16. 16 to 32. 64. Meanwhile, up in heaven, the gods and the goddesses were amusing themselves with an occasional glance down to earth when they saw a stack of dead bodies coming up through the clouds and soon would be spilling out onto the heavenly palace floor.
It seems our doubling spell has doubled back on us. Quickly undo the doubling! Jantar mantar tu mantar!
The doubling stopped, and the spell was reversed. 1,024, 524, down to just 1. One body of a man who sat up as if rising from the dead.
I'm alive. I am one lucky man.
After the roof was repaired, the neighbors thanked, a flower bag sewn, and with a great apology to his wise wife and traumatized children, everything was back to normal. Now, when his wise wife hands this lucky man some chapati for breakfast, small as it is,
I'll just take half a bite.
and for some reason it tasted
Twice as good. Wah-wah.
Stories, so many stories. By the way, how many of you kids like to hear stories from your parents? Yes, parents, pay attention to this. They're telling you what they need. Stories are a wonderful way to brighten the imagination and to read and bring strong foundations for future literacy. Storytelling has been around for so many, many years, and in fact, in India, the storytelling tradition, as many of you know, has been going on since the beginning of time. Whether it be the teaching stories of the Panchatantra or tales of the Ramayana or the Mahabharata, storytelling has been a way to teach culture and heritage and the legacy of the community. And there's one tradition of storytelling in India called the Jataka tales. Can you say Jataka?
Jataka.
Teaching stories. And the stories come from northern India and actually gathered from other regions of India. And this is a story, a Jataka story called Great Joy. Once upon a, some of you missed it. Once upon a long, long time, in a far, far away, a land in a place called India. Whisper, India. There was a farmer. The farmer worked hard, tilling the soil, working in the broiling sun and the pouring rain and the sweeping winds of monsoon season. And he worked so hard and he harvested his crop. And as you know, the life of a farmer is very, very difficult. So you can imagine how grateful he was. This farmer was grateful to have a best friend. A friend that would help him till the soil, the broiling sun, in the rain and the wind. He was so grateful that this friend would help him haul the harvest to the marketplace. This friend of his was such a dear friend of him that the farmer gave his friend, his best friend, a nickname. He called him Great Joy. He named him Great Joy. Now, when you have a best friend, you can look your best friend in the eye and smile, and you know that that warmth in the smile and the heartfelt feeling really creates a strong bond. And his best friend also was grateful for his friendship and stepped forward and acknowledged the friendship by speaking his language as he looked the farmer in the eye and said, Because his best friend was an ox, a cow, a beast of burden, a strong ox who was given that name, Great Joy. Now, how many of you have pets? Pet dog, pet cat, fish, gecko, lizard. Well, you know when you have a pet, you can look in the eyes of that pet and actually talk to that animal. Well, this ox, Great Joy, was such a powerful friend that not only could the farmer talk to the ox, but the ox magically could speak to the farmer. And he told that farmer, I am ever grateful for you, farmer, dear friend of mine. For while other masters beat their animals, make them working harder, you talk kindly to me. Where other farmers let their beasts of burden roast in the hot sun, you make sure I have shade, or let me roll around in the mud to keep the flies off my skin. I am ever grateful to you. Oh, dear Great Joy, I am thankful for you, ever thankful for your help. Well, master, it is time I thank you with a gift. Oh, your friendship is the gift I need. No, I want to give you a magical opportunity. Magical? The ox summoned his best friend forward and gave him instructions. He told the farmer that he was to go to the village, find the richest merchant, and proposed a bet that ox, Great Joy, could move not just one cart full of stones, not just 10 carts of stone, but 100 carts of boulders, rocks, and stones, a huge train of weight. That's impossible. Nothing is possible, master, when you know the power of Great Joy. Well, what could the farmer do? It was his best friend, and so he went to the village, talked to the richest man, the merchant, who looked at him in the eye and said, "Ha ha 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 ha! You want to place a bet that your ox can move 100 carts of stone? Well, let's make it a challenge. If you win, which you won't, if your ox can move 100 carts of stones, impossible. Well, then I will give you a cart full of gold. But if you lose, which you will, I will take half of your farm, half of my land. As you know, a farmer losing his land, that'd be like cutting him in half. But a deal was made. An agreement was made. The deal was sealed. And the next morning, as the farmer led the rope of the ox around his neck and leading his friend down the road, they saw the children running, the teenagers scampering, and the elders wobbling towards the town square. When he met there was a crowd, 1,000 people bobbing their heads, looking, trying to see where, oh, look, there he is. And when he arrived, the ox and that farmer, the crowd, they all murmured and muttered. They said, help me out here. They said, ooh. They said, ah. They said, whoa. And they even said, check it out. Now the farmer felt rather proud to have his best friend with him. And when they saw that merchant, there you are. All right, show them the task. And when the crowd parted, there were 100 carts of stone and boulders, a huge train of burden. Are you sure? Trust me, master. Hitch up your beast. And the farmer did. And now the ox dug his hooves into the ground, and the crowd leaned forward. Go ahead, lean forward and say, ooh. And the ox flexed his muscles. They went, ah. He bulged his shoulder. They went, whoa. And he leaned forward, pressing harder and harder. And the crowd was waiting and waiting as they muttered words like, can he do it? Let's just see. It seems impossible. As that ox began to lean and press harder and harder. Come on, you must do it. You must do this. Trust me, master, trust me. And the ox leaned in deeper, and the crowd went, ooh. And he pressed in harder. They went, ah. And as he leaned and leaned and leaned in farther, harder and harder, suddenly, perhaps it came from this side of the village, there was a snicker. And then it began to infect this side of belief. On this side, they went, no way. And then even the children, they started snickering with the words impossible. And the farmer felt trickles of sweat down his fearful chin. You must do this, you must trust me, master, trust me. But the fear began to grip his heart. And as the snickering got louder and louder, over there they went, no way. Impossible. He can't do it. And that fear began to grip his heart and suddenly the farmer picked up a stick and said, you stupid beast, you have ruined me. And he struck his best friend. And that's when Great Joy stood up straight and did not move. The crowd hurled rocks and stones and insults, and the farmer and the ox tried to back away. Not so fast. A deal is a deal. And half the farm was taken with a deed. The farmer took his ox back to the farm, crumpled on the ground. For hours and hours he shook his head, weeping and weeping. The fire, the dim light of that flame. He looked his ox in the eye. Why? Why? Why did you ruin me like this? And the ox stepped forward and looked his master in the eye and also asked, why? Why? Why did you treat me that way? Why did you say those cruel words to me? Why did you beat me? Have I not served you well in the hot sun and the rain and the wind? Have I not been your best friend? And why did you not call me by my name? My name is Great Joy. When the farmer heard those words, it struck him like a painful knife in his heart as he wept with great sorrow and shame. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And that's when the ox stepped forward and said a new set of instructions. What? Again? Another bet? 100 carts of stone? The other half of my land? No. Trust me, master. And so the farmer trusted his best friend, and he went before the master, the merchant of the village. You must be mad from the sun. You want to place another bet? 100 carts of stone. You won't be able to. But just in case you win, which you won't, I'll give you not just 10 carts of gold, 100 carts of gold. And the deal was sealed. And the next morning, the children began to run, the teens began to scamper, the elders started to wobble, and there were 1,000 people again. And as the ox and the farmer appeared before the crowd, again the muttering started right away. They're back. He's gonna try. Can he do it? Hitch up your beast. And he did. And as that ox took its stance and dug its hooves into the ground, the crowd leaned in with a ooh. The ox flexed his legs, they went, ah. He bulged his muscles, they went, whoa. And as he leaned and leaned in, the crowd began to mutter, can he? Will he? Will he do it? What is possible? And as he leaned in, that's when the ox turned to the farmer and said, what is my name? And the farmer said, your name is Great Joy. Suddenly, a power of light surged in every cell of his body as the ox began to move and budge and bulge, and suddenly, gong, gong, the first hitch, gong, 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 the wheels began to grind, and gong, gong, 10, gong, gong, 20, gong, 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 100 carts of stone began to roll down the road ever so slowly and faster, and the crowd exploded with cheers, and they screamed for joy. He did it! He can! It's possible! as the crowd watched the ox move 100 carts of stone, and everyone jubilant and joy lit up. Everyone was lit with joy. And, well, not everyone. But a deal is a deal. And that night, before the flickering flames, two friends smiled and giggled, looked into each other's eyes, and there was a glitter in their eyes, not from the 10 carts of gold, but was from the warmth of light and love between two friends, as the ox stepped forward and reaffirmed, all things are possible with the power of great joy.
What a great story. Our next story comes to us from a beautiful country called Myanmar. Can we say that? Myanmar. And this story is a story about a delicious and smelly food. Who likes to eat delicious and smelly foods? Raise your hand. What kinds of delicious and smelly foods do you enjoy to eat? Tell me. Who wants to tell me about it? Anyone? Yeah, what's yours? Chicken curry, oh my goodness, yes, chicken curry, and you can smell it down the hallway, right? If you're in your house, if it smells, your whole house will smell like it's so warm, such a warm smell. What other foods do we like to eat? Yeah. Yes, buttered chicken. Oh my gosh, you guys are making me hungry. This is great. What else? Anything else? Any other smelly and delicious foods? Yeah. Chocolate. Thank you. Thank you for making me think about chocolate. Awesome, yeah, so this story is about a smell. Oh yeah, you have one?
Yeah. Rajma and rasgulla.
Oh, I don't know, I don't think I've eaten those before. What do they smell like?
Rasgulla is a Indian sweet. It's like a round ball
Yeah.
that's white and it has like a
Oh, I have, yes.
water.
Yeah, like a sweet water that it sits in, right? Yes, amazing.
Rajma is kidney beans with rice.
Ah, beautiful. Well, I could really talk about food all day, so we'll move to the story. But this is a story from Myanmar about a smelly and delicious food, and I can't wait to share it with you all. It's a story called Princess Learned One. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, in a faraway land called Myanmar, there lived a wise princess. And her name was Princess Learned One. Again and again, this princess proved her learned power, her passion for justice and what is right, so that the air rang with justice in her princessdom. While every disgruntled neighbor, every angry family dispute, and every citizen's argument was solved with justice for all by Princess Learned One. Here is one such tale of justice as this. One day, a man named Usanba was walking down the road when he came to a fish vendor, frying fish on the roadside. Well, Usamba got closer and closer, and he began to smell the sweet smells of the frying fish. They wafted up and down the street and right into his nostrils. And not only his, for many a hungry and eager customer lined up to get some of that fish vendor's fried fish. But as Usamba walked closer and closer, he began to drool. Oh, he was so hungry. But he was too poor to buy any of that fish. He was so poor, he only had one coin. Only one coin sat at the bottom of the pocket in his raggedy pants. Well, Usamba got closer and closer, and finally the fish vendor noticed Usamba coming step by step, closer and closer, drooling, and he scrunched up his face and said, "Hey, you! Are you gonna buy some of this fish or what? If not, get out of here! Your stares are disgusting, and your drooling is scaring away my good paying customers. Hey, scram!" And Usamba, not wanting to be insulted anymore, moved farther down the road, the other way, and sat on a rock to eat his lunch. He took it out of its pocket. It was a small ball of plain boiled rice, wrapped in a banana leaf. He unwrapped it and brought the ball of rice to his mouth. But before he took his first bite, he leaned over and took a long, luxurious sniff from the fish vendor's stall. A bite. A sniff. A bite. A sniff. It was delicious. He closed his eyes to enjoy his lunch, but suddenly his eyes flew open again, for the fish vendor was back, yelling again, and this time calling for the police. Arrest this sniffing thief! Huh? This man's been stealing sniffs from me since the moment I laid eyes on him. But stealing sniffs? But they floated to me all by themselves. I don't care. Arrest this man now! And before he could say another word, Usamba was hauled away to be tried before Princess Learned One. Remember her? Finally, justice will be served, the fish vendor cried. And the princess walked in and merely said, "What's this all about?" The fish vendor was the first to speak. "Well, this man's been standing on the side of my stall, smelling fish after fish after fish, without paying a single cent. I demand that he pay for those fried fish smells." And the princess thought about this for a moment and turned to Usamba and said, "Is this true?" And Usamba nodded his head. "Yes, Your Highness. You see, he even admits it. I demand he pay right now." "Just a moment," the princess answered. "Usamba, do you have any money?" And as we know, Usamba reached down and, "Yes, Your Highness, but I only have one coin." "That will be just fine. Hold the coin up." And Usamba held the coin up into the sunlight. "Very good." She turned back to the fish vendor. "Fish vendor, do you see the coin?" "Yes, I see it, and I'll take it now." "Not yet. Look to the ground. What do you see?" "But the ground? But the shadow of the coin on the ground?" "Yes, the shadow of the coin on the ground. Do you see it?" "Yes, I see it." "You do?" "Yes, I do." "You do?" "I do." "You're sure?" "I'm sure." "Good. Then it is done." "Done?" "Done. I declare your debt is paid in full. The smells from the fried fish stall were paid for by the shadow of the coin on the ground." And everyone who witnessed this clapped in appreciation. And thus another day went by in the land of Princess Learned One, where justice wafts through the air. Smell it with me. Justice, it smells pretty good, huh?
Oh, smell it. Every time I hear that story, I want to go out and eat some fried fish.
Me too.
Well, you know, when we tell stories, we create stories, we try to use all of our body. Our bodies tell stories, as in many storytelling traditions in Asia. You know, Bharatanatyam dance, of course, is using storytelling with the body. Kahiko, ancient hula dance from Hawaii, is also a storytelling style that uses the body. As in many Asian cultures, the body is part of telling stories. So we thought we'd do a little bit of a demo to show how we create shapes. And in order to do that, to create shapes to make stories, we actually would like a few volunteers from our audience to come up here. Here we go. So we have some help from our crowd.
Okay, we'll just do three, that's good.
And how about this young lady here with the gray coming up?
Oh, yes, let's do it.
There we go.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Okay. So sometimes I'll use this drum to really help us listen and to create a punctuation so you know when to make a shape. So for example, when I hit this drum, I want you to hold your arms up, okay? So ready? Just like that, okay? And drop them down by your side and do it again. Oh, you see that? Nice and quick. And drop them down. Good, okay? Now spread out a little bit right here so we have room to move. And we're going to start first with shapes that are at different levels, okay? So there's low level, there's medium level, and high level, okay? So with any part of your body, actually your whole body, we want you to start with a low level body shape, okay? So ready for the drum, make a low level. Low, nice and low, okay? And go neutral. And you can actually add parts of your body like your arms, your elbows, your shoulders, your knees too, okay? So now we're gonna do a medium or mid-level shape with your whole body when I hit the drum. Mid-level, oh, mid-level is right about this level right here, right about there, right about there. And already you see they're starting to use their arms, right? Starting to use your arms, making shapes. Even your fingers can make shapes. Okay, and go neutral right there. And now, of course, what's after low, middle, and right, a high level. So you need to really use all of your body to be a high shape as much as possible to make a high shape. All right, look at, even with high shapes, of course, they use their arms. So high shape, middle shape, and low shape, all right. And go neutral. Okay, now that you've kind of woken up your body, we want you to use all of your body, your legs, your arms, to make any shape you want of any level you want, okay? So when I hit the drum, you make a shape that you haven't made before. Make a shape. Some shapes are low, some are middle, some are high. And change your shape. And some shapes have space in between. Some use their arms like that. Some are up in the air like that. Some are really low. And change your shape. And change it again. And change it one more time. All right, these are still shapes that create pictures. Pictures tell stories. The body tells stories. Okay, go neutral. Okay, now, not only shapes that are still, but sometimes we like to make shapes move, okay? So let's try a movement that is flicking. You know, like you're flicking off fleas? You're flicking off fleas. So flick off fleas or sand on your body, on your knees. Flick out the dandruff in your hair. Flick, 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 flick. That's a flicking movement right there. And freeze. Okay, good. Now let's try one that is floating. So as if you're on a cloud, floating lightly in the air, like on a breeze, like a bubble floating in the sky or a leaf in the wind. And freeze. Okay, let's try one now, like you're trying to move a big rock. And so you're gonna press and push and push. And now there's a big rock coming down on top above. You're gonna push it up. And now there's a big rock. You're gonna push it down. And there's a big rock up in front of you again. And freeze. Freeze right there. And go neutral. And take your bows. And give them a round of applause.
Great job, you guys. Thank you.
All right, go and have a seat.
Great job.
Okay. We'll tell you more stories, but I think we're going to sit on the stage here and tell them a little bit. Okay. So that's a little bit of how we create stories. Of course, we do the research, finding many folk tales and mythologies from Siberia to Vietnam, Philippines to India, Pakistan to Laos or Cambodia. And we feel strongly that stories, folk tales and myths from our Asian traditions can help strengthen one's sense of identity and community. So again, with the parents here, if you have kids, share your heritage through the stories that maybe you remember you were told or your grandparents told you. So here's a little slice of life. My name is Robert Kikuchi Ngoho. I'm half Japanese, half Filipino, born in San Francisco, raised in Concord, California.
My name is Mei Lee. I was born in San Francisco, and I actually grew up watching Robert and his wife Nancy perform all over at libraries and at events just like this. So it's really amazing to be able to share the stage with him and to share these stories with the next generation of storytellers.
Hi everyone, my name is Ling Lee. I also grew up in San Francisco, and I first saw Ethnotech at the Excelsior Branch Library in the south side of San Francisco. And just like May, I feel so blessed to be able to give back to the next generation of library goers and entertainment seekers. And I'm so happy to be able to connect with my culture and my heritage through stories. I do feel it's strengthened my understanding of myself and my development of my personal identity. So I feel very thankful and grateful towards stories for helping me to understand parts of myself that I was very curious about when I was young, but I didn't feel as connected to.
Yes. So here's a question to you. if you think about your childhood, some of you you're still there, but if you can think of a story that you like, name a title or a character in the stories you really like to hear. So who would like to tell? Raise your hand if you know a story right now. Do you know a story? What story do you think about when you think of stories?
Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good one.
A very popular series of stories.
What story do you think of?
King Arthur.
King
Yeah.
Arthur, okay.
Knights of the
And how
Round
about you
Table.
over here? What story do you think about? Which was it?
Oh, Running Maze.
Running
The
Maze.
Running Maid.
Nice.
And what story do you think about?
The Dakota Tales.
Jataka tales. Yes, many stories in the Jataka tradition. And how about you, young lady? Say it again.
Stilton.
Geronimo
Stilton.
Stilton. All right.
Yes.
And how about you?
Magic Treehouse.
Oh,
Magic
the Magic
Treehouse.
Treehouse, yeah.
Adventurer stories.
Who knows who Hanuman is? Who's Hanuman?
Mythical god of strength, I think. Monkey.
A monkey, right? Is he a powerful monkey? Yeah. What kind of things does Hanuman do that he's famous for?
I think he lifts really heavy things. And he has this mace.
Right. I heard he lit his tail on fire. Is that true? Yeah, you remember that one, right? But he's a powerful monkey. There's another powerful monkey that's in neighboring country of China. Who knows another powerful monkey character that's like a king? In fact, he's known as Monkey King. Who knows? Anyone hear of Sun Wukong? Anyone here? Yeah, see, you remember Sun Wukong. He's so powerful that when he wants to use his staff to fight, he reaches in his ear and pulls out a fighting staff like that. Or if he needs more help, he wants to create more monkeys, he plucks off his hair and goes, change! And 10,000 monkeys help fight the demons. Yeah. All right. Okay, well, I think it's time for another story. Here we go. So off we go. I love drums. I'm a musician too. I'll drum a rhythm. You keep it. Okay, you copy that one. There we go. We can. Oh, you guys are drummers at heart. That's why I tell you this next story. One of my favorite, and it is from India, and it is called "The Drummer Boy." Dum ta, dum ta. Dum dum taka taka dum 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 taka 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 dum dum. Once upon a
Time
dum dugata dum dugata 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 dum. A long time
ago,
in a faraway
land.
called India. Dum dugata dum dugata dum 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 taka dum dum. There was a boy who loved to play the
Drum.
dum. He was really good to play that drum. The only trouble was he didn't have a drum. Doom. He loved the drums. If only he could afford a drum. In fact, his mother, knowing that he had lots of rhythm in his heart, she gave him a nickname. She didn't call him Sweetie Pie. No. She didn't call him Honey Bunch. No, he loved to play the
Drums.
So she gave him the nickname and called him the
Drummer.
He loved that rhythm. He was so good, but they were too poor to even buy a drum. So poor. Couldn't even afford to buy a toy drum. Now, his mother worked hard grinding wheat for the rich man. Someday he'll pay. But he never gave her coins. But she was grateful for the sack of wheat flour, for now she could make the samosas and chapatis and naan bread for her son. One day she was walking back home from a hard day's work. Oh, I wish I could afford Drummer Boy a drum, but alas, we're so poor. Well, I can't afford to buy a drum or a toy drum, but maybe he could make a toy out of this. And she picked up a small piece of wood, an ordinary stick. He has a good imagination. Maybe he could pretend with this stick. And so she hid that stick behind her back, and as she stepped into their little hut, she stared her son straight in the eye, and with a big smile, she said, "Oh, drummer boy, oh, drummer boy." Of course, when that little boy heard his mother speaking like that, he went, "Mama, oh, you have something for me?" "Uh-huh, come here." "Oh, Mama, is it cookie? Is it sweet?" "No, come here." "Mama, You finally did it. You bought me a drum. No, I got you a stick. Well, drummer boy knew how poor they were and how hard his mother worked, and so he did what any young child should say when the parents give them a gift. He said, "Thank you. Nandri, Ruma Nandri, thank you very much. Oh, Mama, this gift of a stick is a gift from your heart. And, oh, I could use this stick to play a drum, a pretend drum," because he always kept that drum music in his heart. So he raised that stick and played a pretend drum, and ran outside to play. And Mama smiled. He's such a good boy. Meanwhile, the drummer boy was out there playing when suddenly he heard the sound of wah, wah, wah. Oh, the boy next door was crying. Let me tell you about that crying child. Now, his father worked hard too. Clay pots for sale, clay pots for sale. But no one was buying clay pots these days. With very little money, there was very little food. And that child was crying because he was... Now, the drummer boy saw this. He ran inside to tell his mother what he saw. But she was busy making the chapati. But, oh, I wish there was something we could do. Oh, the fire, it is going out. I did not have enough time to gather wood. How will I finish making the bread? Oh, Mama. Here, a gift of a stick can be a gift for the fire. Oh, you clever boy. And so she took that gift of wood, fed it to the fire grew hot, and soon there was, fresh chapati, and he ran around the room, and ran outside to play, wah, wah. Oh. And he gave the hungry child a gift of bread. Now the father of the hungry child saw this act of kindness. Oh, drummer boy, thank you so much. I wish I could thank you so much. Wait, here. Since no one's buying clay pots these days, here, a gift of a pot. Wow. What'll I do with it? I don't know, you're a clever boy, you'll find some way to play with it. Nandri, Rumba Nandri, thank you very much. And as the drummer boy walked down the road, he thought about how the gift of a stick became a gift of fire. The gift of fire became a gift of bread. The gift of bread became a gift of doom. And then he got an idea. What do you think he pretended that pot was? A drum, dum, 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 taka, 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 dum, 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 taka, taka, dum, dum, dum. Then he walked down the road, taka, 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 dum, 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 taka, dum. And down by the river, that's when he heard two people arguing with each other. Now look what you've done. I could not help it, my wife. I slipped on a rock. It was wet. It was the washerman and the washerwoman. They made their living scrubbing clothes on the rocks by the riverbank. But alas, when I slipped on a rock, our washing pots flew into the air and dashed into 100 pieces. And his wife cried out, "How will we make a living now? We have no clay pot." Excuse me. Now you got one. Well, the washerman and woman were so grateful. Oh, young man, stranger as it is, wait, here, I can thank you this way. And he took off his man-sized coat and handed it to the boy. Of course, when that young boy put on a man-sized coat, well, it was kind of big. But Nandri, thank you very much. And as he walked down the road, the drummer boy thought about the gift of a stick became a gift of fire. The gift of fire became a gift of bread. The bread became a gift of and the pot became a gift of a coat. As he walked down the road, he dusted off that dusty coat to the drum beat in his heart. Dum da dum da 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 dum 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 da dum. Help! Help! Huh? Who's crying out for help? There in the river, a man standing in the river, up to his waist, without a stitch of clothing on. Oh my! Excuse me, sir. And the naked man in the river went, "Achoo! I've been here for hours. I'm going to die of a cold. Achoo! How come you have no clothes on?" Oh, I'm so glad you came along. I sell horses for a living." "Oh, but how come you have no clothes on?" "Well, you see, it was a rather hot day and my horses were very thirsty." Yes, it's rather warm. But how come you have no clothes on? Well, they were so thirsty, I led them to the river. As you can see, they're drinking quite happily now. Yes, I see. Quite happy. But how come you have no clothes on? Well, it was such a hot day, I thought I would go for a swim. So I took off all my clothes, hung them up in the bushes, and dove right in. Oh, that's why you have no clothes on. But the man went, you, but I've been here for hours. I'm going to die of a cold. Whoa, why don't you get out of the water now? Because I have no clothes on. Look, and the naked man pointed to the bushes. That's what I've been trying to tell you. The thief came along. That rascal bandit took my pants, my shirt, my shoes, everything, and now I've been in the water for hours. I'm going to die of the cold. Achoo. Well, here, try this on for size. Sa! And that naked man covered himself up with a long coat. Oh, you saved my life. Thank you. Wait. I can thank you in a better way than that. And he gave the drummer boy a gift of a... Wow, beautiful horse. Ooh, wow. Oh, thank you, Mr. Horseman. Rumbanandri. And the drummer boy trotted down the road. He thought about how the gift of a stick became a gift of. The fire became a gift of. The bread turned into a gift of a. Which that became a gift of a. And the coat became a gift of a. Oh. There in the shade of a banyan tree were a row of men dressed in fine clothes. There were wedding gifts. There were musicians and instruments, and the groom, the husband-to-be, in his finest wedding clothes, cried out, "Oh, woe is me! I have all the gifts for my wedding. Musicians I've hired, my relatives are here, but alas, the man who was supposed to deliver the traditional horse, he never showed up. And now I will be late for my own wedding. Oh, our family name is ruined, all because we have no horse." Excuse me. Now you got one. And he gave that groom a gift of a... And that groom was so grateful, he summoned the young boy. Look, take anything you want. Splendor, spices, sari, anything fancy here. And the boy, who lived in poverty, had never seen such riches before. Oh, no, I can't take this. No, I insist you must take... No, this is for your wedding. No, please, there must be something you want. And he looked again, and again, there was nothing he really wanted, and until suddenly he saw the musicians. Could I have one of those? What do you think he saw? The musician came up. You like my maradangam? Say maradangam. 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 My double-headed drum, tukataka-tukatum. Well, now that I'm going to be hired at the wedding, I can buy many of these at the marketplace. Here, take my maradangam. And he handed the boy his very own maradangam, his own drum. Whoa. Thank you very much, no rumbanandri, and congratulations. Well, quickly, the drummer boy ran back home. And they approached his hut. He thought, oh, what'll I tell my mama? How will I explain this? And so he slid and hid that drum behind his back, thought for a moment, and then as he stepped carefully into the hut, he knew what he needed to say. Mama! Look, my own maradang, my own drum. Oh, where did you get this? How did this come to be? And the drummer boy sat his mother down and gave her the gift of a story and told his mother how the gift of a stick became a gift of fire. The fire became a gift of, that turned into the gift of a, that turned into the gift of a, and the coat turned into the gift of a, and the horse turned into the gift of a drum. Mama, I've been practicing my strongest beat. And he raised his hand and played a very real drum. As he ran outside to play with his new friend next door. And Mama smiled, as mothers often do. For she knew that the strongest beat was not from the drum at all, but was from the beat and the gift of his most loving heart. I think we got a cleverness, yeah. Okay. Before we do our last story, though, if any of you are involved with your school communities or other organization, we'd love to perform for them. So I've passed out flyers there. You can get in touch with us through the website or the phone number that's on there. And certainly we'll be around for a few moments to answer any questions you might have. So we want to thank the Cupertino Library and Rosalind Donald who helped create this event, and of course Claire too for helping out, and all the dignitaries that came here. And we'll now close with our last story.
Cleverness or wisdom? A folk tale from India. There were once 3 magicians.
3 royal magicians to the king.
I'm Abra.
I'm Cat.
I'm Deborah.
Abracadabra.
They lived a life of luxury, the best of everything.
Precious treasures, a castle.
And much, much more.
But one day, the 3 magicians all got seriously
Bored.
So into the jungle they went for their afternoon walk. Say, which is better, cleverness or wisdom?
Was the topic of their talk.
I think cleverness. Cleverness, yeah, cleverness. Clever.
Wisdom?
Sorry, cleverness.
Wisdom?
No, cleverness.
Wisdom! Look! I found a bone.
Ooh.
Check out this magic trick. Z-z-z, z-z-z, zoop! And that single bone turned to dozens of bones scattered in the dirt.
Oh yeah? You want clever? I'll show you clever. And those dozens of bones scattered into the fully assembled skeleton of an animal. A very large animal.
Hey, let's give it some muscle. Kum-tari shabba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hey!
Meat.
Let's give it a rap.
Shaw.
And that fully muscled animal was now covered in smooth and hairless skin.
Ooh. Wait, I think we need some fur. Fur.
What color?
White fur.
Orange.
Black. Black is so
Orange.
cool.
Orange.
Black fur.
Orange and white. No, orange and, okay, black and orange. No, maybe white and orange.
Maybe orange.
Since we cannot agree, don't you think we should consider this more carefully?
What? Who cares? Can't you see how clever we've been so far?
Just because you're clever doesn't mean you should. This clever type of magic could lead to something no good.
Oh, go on.
What a coward.
Be a bird. Oh, go climb a tree.
And so the wise magician did climb a tree, and from their branchy loft watched where the other magicians left off.
Orange.
Black and
Orange
white.
and white.
Wow.
How about black and black, and then some orange and no black. No, orange. No, never mind.
Wait!
Ah! Poof!
And that black, orange, and white turned into stripes.
Za, za, za.
And when that hungry tiger awoke with zeal, but a not so happy meal.
When it was over, the tiger pranced away.
Sha, 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 ka! And the wise magician lived to see yet another day.
For cleverness is a very short stay.
While
Well,
wisdom always goes
A long, long way. Poof!
Once again, we'd like to thank you for coming out. Please keep in touch with us and bring us to your other community organizations. We'd love to serve the community with these many Asian stories. So we'll end with one last song. Ready? Here we go. Heaven, earth, beauty's birth, endless flowing in this universe. Peace, there was peace. Thank you very much.